And we will share my thing right here. Give me 1 second, team. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? I can't see anybody.
Looks good.
Yes? All right. Excellent. So I titled this Autism and Occupational Therapy, an Everlasting Bond. OT and autism, they go hand in hand, just like speech and language therapy and OT. Working with our autism community is something that is, in every school, speech therapists, occupational therapists, with the special education teachers, we're a team. And as Mrs. Parker did mention, teamwork does make the dream work in our district and in all districts around our state and our country as well. So I'm going to speak about, and I want to first thank Mr. Thompson for inviting me in the month of April, because we had 2 very good reasons why April is an amazing month for me to come and present for you guys, because April is Occupational Therapy Awareness Month, where we learn about the passion, purpose, and possibility of occupational therapy in our country and around the world as well. And I'll be discussing about what I do as an occupational therapist and what we do as OTs in America as well. Another reason why it is an amazing month for April for me to present here in April is also the fact that it is Autism Acceptance Month. And I want to emphasize the word acceptance, and I do have 2 graphics here on the screen. I have had this lanyard with the puzzle pieces that demonstrate autism awareness for the past 7 to 8 years while working in the Prendergast Elementary School District. My coworker did purchase this because we do celebrate that here at Desert Horizon Elementary School, which houses our Autism Support Cadre program. However, this year, there has been a new awareness or acceptance. The autism community prefers us to use the word acceptance, because acceptance moves beyond awareness. When you are aware of something, you know about it. You know that an individual with autism is there and what to expect. However, accepting somebody that has autism or any disability moves a step beyond. And so the world will like us to use the word autism acceptance. So I thought that would be important to share as well. Moving on, I would love to share what is occupational therapy. Occupational therapy is a service that is provided from birth to infancy. Right when you're born, you work on infant massage, you work on the child development. EI, or early intervention, is so important, and you progress through the stages of childhood to adulthood and into elderly aging, and also successful aging as well is something that is really important for the lifespan. So we work with people of all ages, all disabilities, and we also work on assessing, intervening, and modifying people's environments to make sure that they're able to successfully participate in life. And the word occupational is kind of confusing. When I first started OT school, there were plenty of jokes. Oh, are you going to go out and get someone a job? That was what everyone thought occupational therapy was. And in a way, part of it, the vocational and work industry part of occupational therapy certainly does that. However, when we look at the word occupation is anything that we do as individuals, as human beings, that hold meaning to that certain individual. So we're in a school system, a child with autism will hold meaning to have certain routines and to be able to participate in the classroom setting. If they're in a home setting, maybe being able to create video games or doing, some model airplanes is their occupation because they find meaning in it. So we help people of all ages across the lifespan find meaning in everyday life and how to participate in everyday life. And so all these areas we help with aging, with health and wellness, with the psychiatric mental health part of occupational therapy as well. Rehab centers, we work in hospitals, nursing homes, all over the spectrum of locations are where occupational therapists do work at. So if you would like more information on what OT is, please visit aota.org, the American Occupational Therapy Association's website, for more information on what OT is. I would like to kind of introduce who I am. Again, I said my name is Vincent Hsu. I come from the East Coast, from the city of New York. For those who are not aware of the city of New York, there are 5 boroughs to the city of New York, including the most famous borough, which is Manhattan. We have the Bronx, where the New York Yankees baseball team plays, Queens, where the Mets play. Brooklyn, where the Brooklyn Dodgers used to play, and Staten Island, which is the forgotten borough, which is the borough that I was born and raised in. As a first-generation American, I was born and raised in the borough of Staten Island. I took the Staten Island Ferry every single day to go to work in Queens and in Manhattan and in Brooklyn as well. And I drove across the Verrazano Narrows Bridge right here to be able to go from Staten Island to Brooklyn. So a little bit of background as to who I am. Here in the picture, this is a priceless picture of my father and I on the Circle Line going to the Statue of Liberty on a Mother's Day cruise with the Twin Towers in the background, a very priceless picture that I will always treasure in my heart as well. My mother is pictured here at our Exceptional Student Services virtual fair. Mrs. Parker actually took this picture of my mom and I while we were doing Chinese calligraphy for our ESS virtual fair that Mr. Sean Thompson was part of earlier this year as well. So a little bit of an introduction as to who I am. I graduated in 2003 December at the State University of New York at New Paltz with a degree in music therapy. Growing up, I was an advocate and a big fan of playing music. I played piano, violin, guitar, and music was a great way for me to deal with the anxieties of life, to deal with certain areas of depression, help me cope through my childhood as I was growing up. And I decided to embark on the field of music therapy, where I did get my bachelor's at the State University of New York at New Paltz, and then embarked on a career as an activity therapist at a psychiatric hospital in Queens, New York, which I will kind of go over in a little bit. In 2007, in December, I decided to embark on my master's degree, and I did receive my Master's of Science degree in Occupational Therapist at the Jefferson College of Health Professions at Thomas Jefferson University in the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a mouthful, sorry. And so my first work experience was at Elmhurst Hospital Center in Queens, New York, which is a humongous hospital that has, the diversity and the multilingualism of this hospital represents the world. We're only about 20 minutes from the United Nations in Manhattan. We frequently have many patients from all over the world speaking 256 different languages. I was an activity therapist in the Asian psychiatric ward. They separate all their psychiatric wards into the separate parts of the world. We have a part of the psychiatric unit that only deals with patients from Southeast Asia, from East Asia, from Europe, from the Americas, so that we really focus on multilingualism in this hospital and on cultural competency as well. So this is the place that kind of encouraged me as an activity therapist to kind of go on and find a profession that also helps people, yet helps people in a variety of ways, which then allowed me to volunteer in their department of occupational therapy in the rehabilitation medicine department. And also I also volunteered in the physical therapy department, and I found more meaning in observing occupational therapists do what they do in a hospital setting to get people back home and living a more meaningful and purposeful life. After receiving my occupational therapy master's degree in the summer of 2007, I did embark on working at FOTSU Rehabilitation, geriatric therapy at home, doing home care therapy in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. I then embarked on my first experience working with children at the Perfect Playground. What an amazing place, a great name for a great place to work at. For my first experience working with kids at the Perfect Playground, which was my first experience working with children of all varying disabilities, of different age groups from 3 to 4 all the way to 17, 18 as well. I then moved in February 28th of 2012 from Staten Island, New York to Phoenix, Arizona, and embarked on my first job working in home care at Nightingale Home Care as a geriatric home health occupational therapist. Afterwards, I then started working for Student Therapy Inc., or STARS, which is a contract company that hired me as a school-based occupational therapist working in the school districts here in Arizona. And then finally, I landed in the Prendergast Elementary School District, where I am honored to be an occupational therapist leading our motor team here at PESD as well. So a little bit of a summary on my work experience. What does a school-based OT do? Now, we work on our fine motor skills. We work on a child's ability to do their handwriting, to be able to, to do those grasping skills that will help them to manipulate all of those supplies that we encounter as children in an academic setting, whether you're in preschool, whether you are transitioning to kindergarten, all the way through 8th grade here. Since we are an elementary school district, we go from K through 8th grade. We do not go up from 9 to 12, from 9 to 12th grade. We work on their pre-writing skills, their handwriting skills, their ability to write their name, their letters of the alphabet. As they get older into 3rd and 4th grade, we work and we look and see how their keyboarding skills are and how they're able to use both hands to type on a keyboard. As we all know, COVID-19 has, and the advent of online distance learning has really pushed our children, even in the younger grades, 2nd grade and 1st grade, to be able to use keyboards and to be able to type chat into their Chromebooks when they're doing online distance learning. So the pandemic has proven to be a blessing in disguise to promote keyboarding literacy amongst our even younger students as well. We work on something called visual motor skills or visual perceptual skills. So you're incorporating the visual system and the motor system combined, as well as their perceptual skills. So how are they interpreting visual information? Can they see that a red circle goes with a red circle and they're the same? Can they see that a red circle and a blue square are different shapes? Those are called visual perceptual skills that are so important as we're developing from preschool even into the elementary school ages as well. Bilateral coordination is using both hands at the same time. So if we don't have good bilateral coordination skills, we'd just be using one hand to do everything. And that would not be helpful in us to be able to do handwriting, to be able to, do all the skills we need to do in a school-based setting and in the home and community as well. Vocational readiness skills, note that I did highlight that in blue. When we are working with kiddos in the school-based setting, especially with kids on the spectrum, kiddos with autism, we want to make sure that they're able to do simple things that are to the best of their ability. To work on their organizational skills, to work on those communication skills that they need. So when they're ready for a job, then we can make sure that they have those prerequisite skills in the school setting to transfer into life as well. We also work on sensory processing, as Mr. Sean Thompson did mention, overload, sensory overload, even with people of all abilities, we all have our own sensory overload that we deal with, even though we may not have a sensory processing deficit. Self-regulation goes hand in hand with sensory processing. If we're not able to regulate our emotions and our behaviors, that does play a factor as well. Work behaviors and task completion. Here in the ASK program here at Desert Horizon, we use the TEACH program, which helps students learn how to organize and be able to use reward systems in a step-by-step manner using visual supports to help them with their work and getting all their tasks completed as well. OTs play a humongous role in adaptive play. If you have a toy and a child doesn't have the fine motor or perceptual skills to play with that toy, OTs and other therapists are the gurus of being able to adapt that toy so a child that may have a fine motor or sensory deficit play with that item as well. We are also kings of assistive technology. Assistive technology is anything we use in a school-based setting. So it could be as easy as a pencil grip, or it could be as easy as maybe a weighted or compression vest, or maybe a therapy ball like this young little fella in the picture is using to help with the self-regulation. You can even use it as a form of flexible seating as well. So we play a humongous role in recommending, assessing, and providing assistive technology to all our students with autism and other students with IEPs as well. And of course, we always consult with our school staff, our IEP teams, and family members on strategies that could be incorporated in the school, in the home, and in the community as well. So that is what a school-based occupational therapist mainly focused on, those are the scope of practice that we would do in the school-based setting. I would like to kind of explain what sensory processing is, because OTs in a school-based setting and in the clinics and in home care as well, when working with children with autism, play a humongous role in helping students with sensory processing difficulties overcome those challenges with assistive technology and various strategies and interventions to help them process sensory information. So I'm not going to repeat everything that Mr. Sean Thompson did mention in terms of, processing things like taste and sound and touch, the tags on our clothing, the tactile sensations that even those that may not have sensory difficulties have a difficult time, accepting on our skin. For example, taste and smell, for example. A lot of children have a very difficult time tolerating things that may have a gooey texture or a slimy texture. However, some kids may have a need for tactile sensations, such as slime. The biggest thing right now, the biggest, in the fad, I guess right now you can call it, is slime, right? And putty and all those things that, kids can really touch and feel and get a sense of tactile sensations on the hand to get the proper sensory stimulation interhand as well. But we work with kids, basically sensory processing is the way that our nervous system receives messages from our outside environment, from the senses, and how we turn them into an appropriate motor and behavioral response. So if there's a blockage in different parts of our brain, the message that comes from the environment may get blocked in a child that has sensory processing disorder or a child with autism. And when that message is blocked in that certain part of the brain, it will manifest into behaviors, whether they are crying or they run away or they engage in stimming behaviors. So our job as occupational therapists is to be able to assess that, to be able to consult with the teams, the special ed teachers, the parents, find out what these symptoms are, and provide the proper interventions to help them overcome these sensory processing challenges. And so these are the senses.
Sorry, real quick before you continue, did you mean to turn off your presentation because we can't see it anymore?
Oh, hold on.
I was just double checking. Betty had asked.
Hold on. Sorry. Let me try that again. Sorry about that. Let me come back here. I can't see anybody when I'm presenting. Sorry about that.
You're okay. No worries.
All right. Let's try that again. My apologies, team. Oh, here it is. All right. If I'm speaking too fast, let me know, because I do tend to speak really fast. So sorry if I do.
So far, so good. No worries.
Can you see it, guys, or no? Or
we can see the meeting. Yeah, we're good now. There you go.
Perfect. Okay, let me come back to here. Perfect. Okay. Insert view present. Perfect. So can everybody see now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So when we think about sensory, we think about all these areas: hearing, auditory senses, processing the visual sense. A lot of kids go to, say, Costco, and they get very visually distracted by the environment in Costco and in grocery stores in general. Touch or tactile sense, as I mentioned before, taste and smell, or the olfactory sense. Balance and vestibular. The playground is a humongous area where we assess the ability to process vestibular input. Some kiddos, I'm in a rocking chair, I'll be honest with you right now, and when I get anxious, I rock back and forth, and that linear motion really helps to calm me. Some kids need that spinning sensation. Sometimes we do spinning to be able to help them, in addition to what we call proprioception, which is body position or body awareness, and heavy work activities to help these kids process their senses in their body as well. There's one sense that, the past 1 or 2 years has gotten a lot of attention, and that hidden sense is called interoception. And what interoception, as the graphic says, is a sense of knowing what is going on inside your body. We all know when we wake up in the morning, we need coffee, right? We need coffee to wake up. So that's our body's internal sense to say, hey, I need some caffeine to wake up my body, right? For children, sometimes they're very thirsty, and they're not able to really tell themselves, hey, I need some water to drink because I'm getting thirsty and dehydrated. Or my muscles are sore because I just bumped myself into the playground, and I don't know how to say that because my brain is not processing that information. So we have under-responsive interoception and over-responsive interoception based on what the brain is processing in terms of what is going on in the internal organs of our body. So this is a brand new sense that is gaining more and more attention in the OT world and in the rehab and autism society as well, called interoception. How can OTs help a child with autism? Of course, I mentioned the fine motor skills. When we do evaluations in the school-based setting, we do those standardized evaluations in addition to informal observations of the child in the classroom. And if they have a fine motor deficit or a visual motor perceptual deficit, we definitely work on those skills. Sometimes in the preschool to kindergarten age, we work on what we call activities of daily living. So that's your dressing, your bathing, your dressing, your grooming, your self-care skills, washing your hands, for example. We would definitely, or buttoning your buttons while you're doing dressing, or when it's colder, being able to zip up your zipper before going outside for recess. These are some really important skills that work on that dexterity, bilateral coordination, everything that I mentioned before, what we call ADLs, or activities of daily living. We work on their sensory, we work on their executive functioning, or their ability to organize themselves in an academic setting, even in the clinic and home setting as well. We use what we call visual schedules and or visual choices or sensory choices via we all know that children and people with autism respond best to a combination of a visual source of input, whether it's a board maker picture or it's an actual picture of the student using the device along with the word. So we definitely give them choices if they need to be able to say, hey, what do I need during the day to maintain a self and calm and regulated state for learning? So we use these sensory choice boards with our students to make sure that they know that they can choose and pick what they need to maintain their sense of self-regulation in the school setting. We have, I'm right now in our sensory gym or sensory motor room. Right now it's not being used because of COVID, but when we are in a pre-COVID world, this room every day is used by every student in our ASK program or autism support program. And we have swings in the background, we have therapy balls, we have a vibration table, we have lots of spinners and lots of different sensory choices that the students can rotate around so that every student in our program gets the appropriate sensory input to maintain a regulated state for learning during their school day here at Desert Horizon as well. And we always recommend interventions to do at home, whether it's carrying heavy groceries, moving furniture, maybe jumping on the bed, or maybe doing lots of heavy work activities, maybe a calming center in the home with a special setup with maybe a cardboard box and some scented lotions that they can incorporate those strategies in the home setting to maintain a calm and regulated state for the families as well. So these are some things that OTs do in the school setting, and that's just a basic overview. Mr. Sean Thompson did give me some criteria for this presentation, and there was one question that asked about what are certain things that OTs may not really be addressing, or should we as occupational therapists be addressing? And I find that there is a gap that we need to bridge the gap between elementary school, high school, and beyond. One thing that I feel that we do a great job at at promoting fine motor skill development. We address their sensory needs in a school environment, but then as they go from 5th grade through 6th grade, through 7th grade, through 8th grade, we know that in 9th grade, they're going on to the high school, which is in the local high school district, right? And so we, as occupational therapists, and I understand that special ed teachers work a lot on organizational skills but one thing that I feel as an occupational therapist working in the school setting is that we do not do enough to address the vocational skills that all our students need to go on to high school. And we do understand some of our students may not choose to go to college, but if they do, phenomenal. We definitely support that. There are certain students that may just want to go into the workforce. So do we do a good job as occupational therapists assessing what those skills are, what those prerequisite skills are from 5th through 8th grade, so that when they get to 9th through 12th grade, they have good prerequisite skills going into the high school so that they can then develop into meaningful adults and get meaningful jobs when they, say they want to start getting a job at 10th grade or 11th grade or even 12th grade. Do we do a good job at promoting those skills for vocational readiness? That is something that I feel that we could do a little bit of a better job at. It's something that we don't really focus on. Another major thing is instrumental activities of daily living. Now, ADLs I mentioned where you're dressing, bathing, grooming, self-care skills. Now, instrumental activities of daily living are things that you need to do to maintain independence in the community. So, for example, going grocery shopping, going to the bank to balance your checkbook, for example. These are things that are known as instrumental activities of daily living that are really important for students that may be at that level 2. Sean had a whole graphic on level 1, level 2, level 3. Maybe your level 1s and level 2s, working on those IADLs would be really important from 5th through 8th grade to develop those skills and to kind of, see how they do. So this way they can become independent adults as they progress through their development as well. I also feel a huge thing that I put in capital letters is leisure skills development. Many of our students, we speak during IP meetings and we speak about what they do at home. And the biggest thing, of course, and it doesn't have to be just a student with autism. It could be a student that has any disability. Video games are the biggest leisure activity in the home setting. So there's a limited amount of leisure development going on in the home setting that I feel as an occupational therapist, we could do a better job at promoting leisure. And we definitely do that, but I feel that we should take that to the next step so that when they become productive and meaningful adults, they have leisure skills to go back on to make a more meaningful life as well. So that was a little slide on things that I feel that we could do a little bit more as an occupational therapist as they go into high school as well. And so I also want to take this opportunity to recognize the members of our Exceptional Student Services team here in the district. We have, of course, Mrs. Parker, her assistant, we have a compliance and professional development coordinator. We have our administrative assistants, our lead school psychologist for the preschool and school age, lead speech therapist, and of course myself as a lead motor therapist as well. Here are some resources that I use for all my families that I definitely recommend. This book in the middle, Raising a Sensory Smart Child, is a huge handbook that has lots of good information on sensory processing and lots of activities and suggestions for the home and community as well. So a very good resource as well. And Interoception, How I Feel is a book written by an occupational therapist that specializes in interoception. So these are three good resources that I would definitely recommend, in addition to all those Facebook groups that really specialize in autism and occupational therapy as well. At this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at vhsu@psd92.org. I will also be willing to take any questions live in the audience right now. Thank you all very, very much for listening to my presentation. It was an honor to be chosen by Mr. Thompson to present to you on occupational therapy. Thank you very, very, very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Wow, thank you. What a presentation. I learned more today about occupational therapists than I have in 8 years with DDD. And that's not to say that maybe they don't have the resources, but maybe I just didn't know that there was so much to it, so many different things. I was the person who heard occupational therapy that first time and thought, you're going to find me a job, or you're going to find my member a job, right? Like, I did too want to make a note on the Vincent, the Autism Awareness and Autism Acceptance Month too. You've got the lanyard, I've got the tattoo, you know? So I got this, and then this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and about 2 years ago, I realized that it wasn't really the symbol that's being used, you know? So I'm looking at either having it fixed or just kind of using it as a general reminder that you can't really box people in, especially on a spectrum like this.
Yep, absolutely.
Very cool. So thank you very much. We're gonna finish up this. Yeah, I'm gonna Ed. I want to add some text around it. I'm thinking, like, as long as you're growing, you're glowing. You know,
or
that
do
whole
the
progression.
infinity sign, right? So that's a big thing that they're doing starting this year. So yeah,
I'm gonna see if they can maybe turn it into one.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's we'll finish up this presentation. It looks like let me see if we had any good questions in here real quick. Cool, got Ed's information. If you guys don't know Ed Schomer, he is amazing. He's our AZIP representative who's out doing outreach for the community. Let's see here. A lot of support, a lot of thank you for the presentation. It was really great.
Thank you.
A little bit from Ed saying we see some more future involvement with you with the Sounds of Autism music program.
Okay.
That's very cool. I didn't know that you played instruments. That's awesome.
I haven't played in a while, but might take some dusting off of some instruments, and I could be okay.
Very cool. Yeah, I play guitar and bass and all that fun stuff.
Cool. Excellent.
Asking if your PowerPoint is available for distribution.
Sure, I can send it to you by email, and then you can forward it to the participants in the crowd today. Absolutely. Yes.
Perfect. All right, that's about it as far as questions. Let's finish this bad boy up real quick.
Thank you.
Oops. Window. Maybe we can get one of your coworkers who's an SLP or somebody on next. Current slide. Cool. That's step 4 for that SPECT acronym we're looking at is that compassion. And I really want to take a minute to emphasize this because, you know, having worked with DDD as long as I have, I've been a case manager, I've been an eligibility supervisor, I've been a support coordination supervisor, I've done hiring and interviews and all that fun stuff. And the only thing that I've ever really brought away from it that I feel is the most important is that compassion. You know, you can teach anybody to complete case management. You can teach anybody a standard work and a set of processes, but you can't teach someone to love and have compassion for an individual. They really got to develop that through experience and through love and interaction with that community. And so what does it mean to have compassion? Compassion means you're showing kindness, caring, and a willingness to help others. And it's a word for someone, a very positive emotion that has to do with being thoughtful and really kind of presenting yourself in a considerate manner that allows for other people to help grow. What is the purpose of compassion? Well, I mean, it motivates us to go out of our way to help other people who may have struggles in the places that we don't. I know I have ADHD pretty gnarly, and sometimes I forget things, and I really kind of lean on some people sometimes to remember some of the things that might be going on, or maybe some details of certain things. And I appreciate their compassion when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, some of the qualities of compassion are patience, wisdom, kindness, perseverance, warmth, resolve, and it's defined by its helpfulness. Step 5 is that trust. So we're all the way at the end of our SPECT acronym here, about to become responders united to make a difference. That last step is trust. You really want to develop trust in the communities that we're serving. We really want to develop that reliable face that know that they can come to us for help. That's originally why I had gotten this tattoo. Oops, I'm elbowing my desk. Why I had gotten this tattoo was because I wanted it to be a sign of advocacy. I wanted it to be a visual representation of somebody who might be struggling with autism, or might have questions, or might have the inability to kind of communicate that outward, would be able to see that and know that they could come to me for help. And that includes our families of autism. We really want to develop that trust, you know, community responders, first responders, the police, the firemen, the EMS, the amazing OTs and STs and PTs in the community who are doing great things for these kids and really helping them grow. So congratulations, you guys are all now responders of autism. You are here to pick up the call, to be that responder. Who is a responder? How do we classify them? You know, someone who is willing to unconditionally support the autism community, help develop that love for the community and the families in the community, make them feel comfortable, offer safe solutions or resources to support the autism community. We listen to individuals with autism to make sure that we're doing right by the goals and the dreams and the hopes and aspirations that they have. You know, we wanted to make sure that we're listening first and foremost. We're acting quickly in a response to a situation, especially during a crisis. Sounds of Autism's mission, as we kind of talked about, was to integrate families and children of autism back into society through love and support. We really want to make sure that we're creating an open, warm environment. If you'd like to engage with Sounds of Autism on Facebook, you can do so at the Sounds of Autism nonprofit 501c3 organization page, or at the Facebook group Autism Families Unite. You'll have to excuse me, my cat just jumped off a shelf. You can also hit up the soundsofautism.org website. Keep an eye out for our PSA about sensory processing. It's pretty cool. It features some local music from a musician with autism that we had on last month. I work for the Department of Economic Security, Division of Developmental Disabilities. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you are involved with DDD and maybe need to find out who your support coordinator is, or get some help with any of the different fun things that go on at DDD, you can call us toll free at 844-770-9500, option number 1, and that's our customer service center. They'll get you in to talk to anybody you need to, or if you're shy, like I am. I'm not. That's a joke. I know it's a little dry. No, but DDD Customer Service Center at azdes.gov, and they'll be able to help you in the same way, but through text. Again, thank you guys so much for coming out to the Sounds of Autism Division of Developmental Disabilities joint presentation. If you guys need anything from me, you have questions about eligibility or DDD services or any of that fun stuff, please reach out, send me an email, send me a text, give me a call, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I like to talk. I'm half vaccinated now, so I'm hoping to be out in the community soon, and we should be good to go. Any questions? Stop. All right. All right, cool. Does anybody have any questions for Vincent or myself about the program?
I do, Sean. Can you hear me okay? This is Bernadette Smith.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey there. I'm sorry. I've been on driving and listening, and I don't even know if you can see my camera because I just ran in the house and plugged in, but I could hear you guys in my car. But I wanted to say thank you, Vincent. That information was just amazing. But the question I have is this, my girl's on the spectrum. I've not had to go outside of the school system for services yet because Prendergast has been doing such an amazing job supporting her thus far. And I heard you share a lot, Vincent, about sensory, and you even included some things that pertain to ABA. So do all OTs, occupational therapists, utilize those methods? Because again, I've not had to get or provide Isabella with any OT. So do all OTs provide that type of method, for lack of a better term?
I had to think first, and the best answer I can give you, Mrs. Smith, is every therapist is different. Every
Right.
therapist is unique in their education, in their theory, in their backgrounds, in the types of disabilities they've worked with. Maybe they haven't really worked with many kiddos that may have some sensory processing challenges. Some OTs have only worked with children that have sensory processing challenges, so they have that experience. So it really depends on experience, their training level, the amount of continuing education that they've had with sensory processing. So I'll be honest, a challenging question to answer. However, it will be individualistic to the OT that you are working with, if that is a good answer for you. Does that make sense?
It is. It makes total sense, and I that makes complete sense. But I just want to say that I love everything that you have incorporated, because I think that with my girl being 10 years old, she needs all that. She she has the sensory, even though it's not as extreme anymore because we've conditioned her through it. She needs that ABA, those typing skills that you talked about. That's she was on a computer at 2.5. So, and now with online schooling, she's building those skills, which are going to help her down the line when she gets older. So thank you so much. We will definitely connect afterwards. And Sean, as always, you did an amazing job and bring on the best speakers. So we're so grateful to have you collaborating with Sounds of Autism. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you. If anybody has any questions, definitely let us know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me? It's Cricket. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not on the camera because I'm driving as well. We just got done with Avondale Resource Center. So I just wanted to share with all you guys that Avondale, the city of Avondale, is our first unified responder community. I'm so excited. So good job to Avondale for allowing that. And there's so many behind them, but we just wanted to share with you guys and say thank you to, I think you have over 30 participants today. Thank you and good job on your speakers and everybody. We love Prendergast School District. Shout out. They've been amazing with our journey as well. So have a good day, everybody. I just wanted to say hi.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, everyone. We'll wrap it up, but thank you very much. Again, if you guys need anything, reach out. I'll send a follow-up email with fun links and presentations and all that jazz. Have a great day. Be safe. Thanks, Vince.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.